my guy Martin Short was dragged through the trenches this weekend. This poor guy, like, my goodness. The Slate, somebody on the Slate wrote an article.
Yeah,
and
Dan Kois, Kois. Yes,
and it was called,
wrote an op-ed for Slate.
Right. At 5:40 a.m. on September 8th. Why so early, Dan? He wrote, "Why We Keep Putting Up with Martin Short" was the title.
Yeah.
And in this, he just went on and on to call him exhausting, sweaty, and just desperately unfunny.
Yeah.
When I tell you that felt like somebody just fucking poked a dagger through my heart.
It was a really
even the brightest
article.
stars, even the brightest stars.
Yeah.
People try to bring him down, okay?
It's true.
My guy Martin, he can't be brought down by this guy Dan, who wants to call Dan, you know what I bet you are? Sweaty and exhausting and desperately unfunny. That's what I would describe you as, not Martin Short. I think many people who have met you have probably called you that behind your back, okay, Dan? Not my guy Martin. And now everybody had to come to Martin's defense. Obviously, if I was feeling well enough, I would have been, leading the charge. Ben Stiller, when has Ben Stiller tweeted? Ben Stiller jumped in and he had to put out a tweet about Martin because he was being just torched, and he wrote, "Martin Short is a comedic genius, end of story." And then you had Adam Devine step in, and he was like, "What?" Like, I forgot what he wrote, but it was something like, "Why are we debating this? Like, why is anybody debating the legacy of Martin Short besides this sweaty, exhausting, unfunny Dan man?"
It was just like a really bizarre article to write, because it's one thing if you want to talk about, I don't know, like, to people in our generation of comics, or pick somebody out, to have that debate. Martin Short is like Ben Stiller said, comedic legend. What reason to go after this man? And it really was like a bizarrely written article also, because it was like, it started off with all these heavy adjectives of how unfunny and terrible Martin Short is. And then it kind of went into like, well, maybe if I got to sit down with him, I wouldn't think he's boring. But like, he went through his movies, his TV shows, like basically being like, this failed, this wasn't funny, this was like, it just felt really like a bizarre personal attack on Martin Short for no reason. That's an opinion that's like, hey, if you're not really a big fan of Martin Short, fine. You don't really have to watch any of the stuff that he's in. To write an op-ed about how unfunny and terrible he is really felt kind of creepy.
It just was like just an attack on Martin Short's character that didn't need to happen.
I know. No, so
it just didn't. It was so unnecessary. Look, maybe this man woke up one day and was
maybe he got the result he wanted. He was like, I'm gonna write something so crazy about a man that everyone loves, and it's gonna get all the clicks because everyone's gonna be outraged.
Yeah, it just felt like he woke up one day and was like, I'm gonna pick Martin Short. Why Martin Short out of all people?
I know.
I don't know.
And who just seems like good guy Martin Short also.
Right. Like, it's like he just picked a man that was minding his own business, having fun with grinding, and yet we got to tear him down. So Dan,
really weird.
You are the enemy now. And everybody came to bat for Martin Short. And you got that little taste of fame that you wanted. Your little unfunny, sweaty, exhausting self, Dan. How about that?